Into our Zoom room to celebrate Shabbat together. It's great to see everyone as I go through the gallery view. Perhaps you want to enter gallery view as well. See members of our community. I'm going to place my tallis on. Before we begin, perhaps we can wave to one another or a heart tap, acknowledging that we're all together as one community. And Cantor Zell, will you begin?
With pleasure.
It's amazing to see everyone. Shabbat Shalom. This week we welcomed new members from all over. Zoom is pretty amazing as we see members of our community now in California and Florida and certainly our Wellesley area. I want to welcome Judy, who I spoke to today from Kansas City. Kathleen, who was introduced to our community through the beauty of YouTube. So it's pretty extraordinary what Zoom can do, link people from all over the country here for one reason, to slow down, to reflect, and to take joy in the gift of life. And so let us once again wave to our neighbors around us. It's been a busy week as we begin to give thanks, to reflect, and to look forward to a day of rest. And let's join together in song. It's Inigun Lechun Aranana, let us rejoice as one.
Lechun Aranana, Ladonai, Nari. Litzoy Ishenu Nikarma Fana Bitoda Bizmirot Naria Loya La La La
Rabbi Sapphire, can you introduce our candle lighters this evening?
Shabbat Shalom, everyone. We are so fortunate in our community this Shabbat to welcome 4 young Jewish adults into the role of leadership in our community, and nothing gives us more light and more hope in following their lead in doing acts of mitzvot. So I want to say a mazel tov to Ruby Dolinsky, Benji Levine, Ada Rosen, and Adam Blocker, who have the honor of lighting our Shabbat candles this evening. And as they light their Shabbat candles, I invite you also to light yours at home. Go ahead, friends.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kitshanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu lehadlik ner shel Shabbat.
Now, continuing welcoming Shabbat as Ryan, our rabbinic intern, leads us in the words of Shalom Aleichem.
Shalom Aleichem, Malachei Hasharet, Malachei Elyon, Melech Malachei Hamlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Shalom Aleichem, Malachei Hasharet, Malachei Elyon, Melech Malachei Hamlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Ay bo lechem Shalom, Malachei Hashalom. Shalom, Malachei Hashalom, Malachei Elyon, Melech Malachei Hamalachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu, Baruch Hu Ani L'Shalom, Malachei Hashalom, Malachei Elyon, Melech Malachei Hamalachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. I tzedchem L'Shalom, Malachei Hashalom.
Continuing our celebration of Shabbat, Cantor Zell, will you lead us? L'chadodi, come. Let us greet the Sabbath bride.
Shamor v'zachor b'dibor echad Hishmi'anu el ha'miuchad Adonai echad u'shemo echad L'shem u'tiferet v'litchila Lecha Dodi Likrat Kala
intention.
We invite you
be
now
welcome.
to please rise in body or spirit as we welcome the Sabbath bride. Boi v'shalom, ateret bala, gam b'simcha u'v'tzola, toch emunei am segula, boi chala, boi chala. Olecha dodi likrat kala, o pnei Shabbat nekabela. Olecha dodi likrat kala, pnei Shabbat nekabela. Pnei Shabbat nekabela.
So let's continue with the words of Shema.
Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. Baruch Shem Kevod Malchuto Leolam Vaed.
So there is a beautiful piece to our service on Zoom, and to see the smiles of our community. And so I just hope that some of the love that resides in our virtual room begins to pervade the world as we continue with the words, let there be love and understanding among us.
Let there be love and understanding among us. Let peace and friendship be our shelter from life's storm. Let there be love and understanding among us. Let peace and friendship be our shelter from life's storm. Hashkivenu, Adonai Eloheinu. Hashkivenu, Leshalom. V'ha'amidenu, Shomreinu L'chaim. Ufros aleinu, Sukat Shlomecha. Hashkivenu, Adonai Eloheinu. Hashkivenu, L'shalom. Let there be love. Let there be love and understanding among us. Let peace and friendship be our shelter from life's storm. Let there be love and understanding among us. Let peace and friendship be our shelter from life's storm.
So I wanted to take a few minutes to speak about our Torah portion, Chayei Sarah, before the Amidah, because I think what I believe it can offer us a meaningful intention as we move into that personal prayer and personal reflection. And so as I've been thinking about it, I've prayed a lot over the last few months. And collectively, I believe we've prayed a lot too. That I washed my hands long enough, or that I won't get sick that time I went to the grocery store when I was shopping and I accidentally touched my face. I've prayed for my family, my isolated grandparents, for our community, for those who are sick. I've prayed for peace and love, for justice and equality, for democracy, and for our country. I've also prayed that my internet won't go out at the exact moment when I will need it. We might determine that these statements are simply requests or hopes or even wishes, that they're simply feelings of humanity at this time. But right now, I would argue that these statements and so many others are our essential prayers. For many of us pray, but few of us know how to talk about it. In this week's Torah portion, Chayei Sarah, we read an extraordinary narrative. We read about the deaths of our ancestors Sarah and later Abraham. We read about the linking of generations and the marriage of Isaac and Rebekah. And there are so many unique aspects of this Torah portion, but what jumped out at me this week were the moments of prayer, and specifically the moments of spontaneous personal prayer. And so in one of the longest continuous narratives in the Torah, Abraham's servant, who the rabbis call Eliezer, receives instruction for how to find a partner for Isaac, and he sets out on a journey. And after journeying for some time, Eliezer arrives at a well in the area of Aram Naharim in the city of Nahor. And in this moment, as evening descends, Eliezer prays. He says, "O Adonai, God of my master Abraham, grant me good fortune this day and deal graciously with my master Abraham. Here I stand by the spring as the daughters of the townsmen come out to draw water. And let the maiden to whom I say, 'Please lower your jar that I may drink,' and who replies, 'Drink, and I will also water your camels.' Let her be the one whom you have decreed for your servant Isaac. Thereby shall I know that you have dealt graciously with my master." And so to me, I think he is simply praying, "Please God, help me with kindness. Make this a successful journey. I have great concerns that it won't go well, and I have a lot depending on it." And so as human beings on this journey of life, we all have the need to call out in prayer, especially like Eliezer in moments of stress and fear and unknown. And we learn in the text that Eliezer shared his prayer at a well in the public space. And he didn't shy away from making sure people heard it, because I think he knew that when others hear our prayers, our personal requests for goodness or shalom, or whatever it is that we need, it changes how we all engage with one another. In the Mishnah, there's a great debate about the nature of fixed prayer. Rabbi Eliezer, a different Eliezer, and Rabbi Joshua teaches us that fixed prayer doesn't fully lend itself to true supplication. It needs our own intention. And the rabbis warn us that when prayer becomes too fixed, we lose sight of the fact that at one point, these fixed prayers were spontaneous prayers for someone else, for the writer. That prayer is most effective when it is our own. And all the more so, Rabbi Joshua teaches, in times of stress and danger. He says, don't rely on the fixed prayer. Essentially, pray what you need and simply what you can. And if that doesn't work, Rabbi Joshua says, you can always use this prayer. It's generic enough. Save, O Lord, your people, the remnant of Israel. In every time of crisis, may their needs be before you. Baruch atah Adonai shomea tefillah. Blessed are you, Adonai, who hears prayer. And so in our moments of stress and chaos swirling around us, it can be hard to think about focusing on our prayers because we might get stuck on exploring who we are praying to or even what the point is. Instead, let us be inspired by our Torah portion to focus on where these prayers, these intentions or wishes or hopes or blessings are coming from. Because our spontaneous prayers come from many places, from anxiety and anger, from fear and pain, from hope and optimism, from joy and possibility. Our prayers are real and filled with great emotion, and like Eliezer, we have a lot depending on them. And right now, whether we say it or not, we're all praying for something or someone, for justice, for kindness, for health. We have to learn how to cultivate awareness. We have to learn how to cultivate an awareness of listening to ourselves. As was reaffirmed to me from 2 new parents this week, sometimes our personal prayers are all we have when we are lacking belief and hope. And so what do our hopes and wishes and prayers in this moment require of us? They require us to open ourselves to the possibility of hearing our own prayer and be like Eliezer, to be vulnerable and even allow others to hear our prayers. Because I think it enables those around us to reach out to us, to know what we need more of at this time: more hope, more health, more healing, more comfort, more connection. When we share our prayers, it brings us together. The more prayers of hope, the more hope that flows in the wind. The more prayers of light, the more illumination of the darkness around us. The more prayers of community and connection remind us that we are not alone. And so in the second instance of spontaneous prayer in our Parsha, our ancestor Isaac goes out into the field, again at this auspicious time towards evening. And the text says that Isaac has a conversation in the field. And so as evening comes tonight, let us consider the prayers we want to add to this world. When we begin to cultivate an awareness of this language of prayer in our lives, when we put our prayers out into the universe, they flow. And I truly believe that when the wind blows, and it will, that I'll hear your prayer and you'll hear mine. And so we begin to answer our own prayers as we share them with the world. Prayer is the power to lift our spirits, and we use these words to direct our hearts and souls. For the prayers that we create and make in our minds, we share through the words, Adonai sfatai tiftach, we say. God, please give us the ability for our prayer to be on our lips. And so tonight, as we move into our personal prayer, I want to invite you to meditate on your voice. What is spontaneously calling you to share with the universe and with each of us? And so as we allow the music and the words and the melody of Adonai Sfatai to wash over us, in a moment, I'm going to open the chat box. And I want to invite you to place a word or two of prayer, a wish or hope, so that together we can lift up our collective and spontaneous prayers a little bit higher on this Shabbat. Adonai sfatai tiftach ufi yagid tehilatecha. God, please open up our mouths to share our prayerful voice with the world. So I invite you to place, beautiful.
Adonai Sefatai Tiftach. Viagi Tehilatecha Adonai Sefatai Tiftach Viagi Tehilatecha Open up our lips so we may praise your name. Open up our hearts so we can feel our pain. Open up our souls to let our love make us whole, and we will praise your name. Do you hear us? Can you listen? Will you hear our prayer? Do you hear us? Can you listen? Will you hear our prayer? Do you hear us? Can you listen? Will you hear our prayer? Do you hear us? Can you listen? Will you hear our prayer? Adonai, Sefatai Tiftach, Viagi Tehilatecha Adonai, Sefatai Tiftach, Viagi Tehilatecha.
Thank you for that offering, Ryan. Let us take a short moment in silence, and then we'll continue with a prayer for our country. Let's now continue together with this passage, a prayer for our country. Help us, God, to unite our great country in the wake of a contentious election. Teach us to listen to one another, to heal our divisions, and to restore hope. The days that lie before us will not be easy, but they are ours to shape. Let them be days of repair, days when we will stem the tide of this horrific pandemic, days when we will join together to build a new future. For some of us, the results of this election are a cause for great celebration. For others, the results are a deep disappointment. Our charge today must be to rise above conflict, to rise above our differences, and welcome in a new time of understanding, a new time of caring and empathy, decency and support. Bless us, God, with ears to hear, hearts to love, and hands to reach across party lines so that we can ensure liberty and dignity for all. Land of opportunity and dreams, we vow to protect our blessed democracy and to safeguard the freedom that is our birthright. We pledge our allegiance to every soul in need and every child praying for a better tomorrow. Bless America, God, with peace, prosperity, and with justice for all. And let us say, Amen. And Zach, our high school intern, if you'll continue for us, Yehi L'Ratzon, may our prayers ascend and be heard.
Yehi L'Ratzon Imrefi Vegion Libi Yehi L'Ratzon Imrefi Vegion Libi Lefanecha Adonai Tzuri Adonai Tzuri Vego Ali Adonai Tzuri Adonai Tzuri Vego Ali. Go inside your heart, just be. Go inside your heart and see what it wants, what it needs, what it yearns when you breathe. Go inside your heart and see. May the words of my mouth and the meditations of my heart be kind, be true. May they be acceptable to you. Oh, my rock, and my Redeemer.
Amen. So we turn our thoughts now to those who are in need of healing, and we begin first praying for healing for every single soul who is stricken with COVID. We add to those the names of those in our own hearts who are in need of healing of body, of spirit, or a healing of the mind. So we'll invite you to write their names in the chat as we join together, Mishaberach Licholim, asking God for their complete recovery.
Mishaberach Avoteinu Mekor habracha leimotenu who blessed the ones before us. Help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing, and let us say, Amen. Yisheberach imotenu mekor habracha lavotenu. Bless those in need of healing with refuah shlema, the renewal of body, the renewal of spirit, and let us say, Amen.
Thank you, Cantor. Of course, each week we also give thanks to God for the sacred moments we've shared during the past week. So I'm going to return to gallery view so I can see the members of our community, because I would love it if you would raise your hand if you celebrated a birthday this week along with Rabbi Sapphire. And Zach too, Mazel Tov. Oh, I see lots of birthdays. Yom Holedet Sameach, happy birthday. How about an anniversary? I do want to call attention to Susan and Julian Lang celebrated their anniversary this past week, sent in to me by their daughter. So happy anniversary, as well as anyone else. Mazel Tov, Mazel Tov. I want to wish Shehechianu moment Mazel Tov to Adam and Ada and Ruby and Benji, who become bar mitzvah tomorrow. It is rare that I learn 2 minutes before the service that 2 moms of our bar mitzvah students became bat mitzvah at TBE on the same date during the same service. And so I know that Cantor Suffren is on services this evening in our Zoom room. So Jody, you are the Cantor for Abigail and Sherry, and now their children become bar mitzvah tomorrow, and we rejoice together. It's really quite extraordinary. Lots of Shehechianu moments. I know that Martha and Don emailed me that they made it out to California and are now joining us each week at 3 o'clock in the afternoon rather than 6. I know a lot of people have made it across the states safely, so we're thankful for that. Let us in our hearts give thanks for those sacred moments as we look back upon this past week. Any new experiences that brought a special joy to us, and continue together with the words of Shehechianu.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam shehechianu v'kimanu v'higianu lazman hazeh. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam shehechianu
I just need to add that I just went back in my emails, fortunately, because something reminded me that it is Rob Cohen's birthday this week. We celebrate, and his mother told me about that. So I have to say to Rob, who's a member of our temple board, Mazel Tov, happy birthday.
So as we move from our communal prayers of joy and celebration and gratitude to communal prayers of memory, the Mourner's Kaddish gives us the opportunity each week to intentionally pause and remember. But perhaps this week, we allow our fixed prayer of memory to be lifted up by our spontaneous personal prayers of remembrance. And so as we recall those who have died at this season in years past, and for those who are in a period of mourning, let's just take a moment and allow a memory that that isn't right in the front of our minds to fill our hearts as we remember with words of Kaddish. And Rabbi Sapphire, if you would share those in our community who are remembering this Shabbat.
So we think first of those who we have lost in most recent days: Richard Gibbs, Rudolph Hohenberg, and soon to be interred Larry Simcha. We also add the names of Jody Brussman and Julie Schiff. So if you are observing a yahrzeit this Shabbat, anniversary of a loved one's death, or in a period of mourning, we invite you to share their names in our chat as well. And if you are an immediate mourner, or if it's your custom to rise for the Mourner's Kaddish, and you can do so in body or in spirit, we'll invite you to do so. And we'll share the words of the Mourner's Kaddish on the screen. So let's join together as a community. Yitgadal v'yitkadash shemei Rabbah, be'alma divrach cherutei v'yamlich malchutei, b'chayachon u'vyomechon u'v'chayei d'chol Beit Yisrael, ba'agala u'vizman kariv ve'imru, amen. Yehei shemei Rabbah mevarach le'olam olmei omaya. Yitbarach ve'yishtabach ve'yitpa'ar ve'yitromam ve'yitnaseh, ve'yithadar ve'yitale ve'yitalal shemei d'kudesha bricha. Richu le'ela min kol berchata v'shirata, tush bechata v'nechamata, da'amiran be'alma v'imru, amen. Yehei shalom rabba min shemaya, v'chayim aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael, v'imru, amen. Oseh shalom b'mromav, hu ya'aseh shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael, v'imru, amen.
Yaseh shalom, yaseh shalom, shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael. Yaseh shalom, yaseh shalom, shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael.
So a few announcements I will start. We are coming upon a very busy week. Of course, a lot going on tomorrow, Shabbat. We welcome you to join us as our sister Rabbi Naama joins us from Haifa for Torah study. Amazing opportunity to study with her in our community for Torah study tomorrow. On Sunday, our community will join together for a turkey talk. We're hoping to continue the tradition of our community conversations. The season is going to be quite difficult as we welcome Thanksgiving and Hanukkah, or I should say different. So we're joining together to share our experiences and to help one another be creative at this time. Next Friday night, our TGIS, thank God it's Shabbat service will return. We are very excited for our regular 6 p.m. service, which will also include a sermon story fit for all generations, participation from our learning communities, and also from our amazingly talented Teen Tefillah band that is led by Ryan Lesner. So we hope to see you next Shabbat. And I want to give you a preview that the Monday before Thanksgiving, which is Monday night, November 23rd, we will be hosting, Temple Beth Elohim will be hosting what we believe to be Wellesley's first interfaith Thanksgiving service, of course, to be held on Zoom. And we are grateful for our clergy colleagues from across Wellesley for joining us on that evening at 7 o'clock. Any other?
It's the first one on Zoom for sure. I guarantee that. almost every night of the week, there is some great learning happening. So I just want to invite people. I don't want to leave anything out, but from the sisterhood to the prime timers, Rabbi Sherman has a course this week. My course, there's the Jewish Film Festival. And Thursday, Jeremy Burton of the JCRC will be speaking on Black Lives Matter and the Jewish community, sponsored by our Racial Justice Initiative. Rabbi Sherman has more.
Nope, I wanted to make sure you said that one.
I got it. So please make sure you're reading the temple broadcasts. It's really, there are probably 4 different things each and every day. T-Bell during the day, Israel lectures. So tremendous amount of activity and opportunity on Zoom. So we've got some really wonderful young adults leading our service tomorrow. One of them, Ada, is going to lead us in Kiddush this evening. So if we can open up her microphone, and if you have a Kiddush cup at home, we invite you to raise it in the air. And there's Ada. Ready?
Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, borei peri hagafen.
Amen.
Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kitshanu b'mitzvotav, v'ratzavanu, v'shabbat kodsho, v'ahava u'ratzon hinchilanu, zikaron lema'aseh v'reishit, ki hu yom techila, lemikraye kodesh, zecher letziat Mitzrayim, kivanu bacharta, ve'otanu kidashta, mikol ha'amim, ve'shabbat kodshecha, ve'ahava u'ratzon, hinchaltanu, baruch atah Adonai, mekadesh HaShabbat. Amen.
Amen. L'chaim.
Yasher koach, Ada.
From all of us to Adam and Ruby and Ada and Benji. I know you're going to do a wonderful job in leading us tomorrow. So now if you have a challah, we invite you to raise it in the air. And Benji's going to lead us, although we're going to spotlight lots of different people and lots of different challahs. But there we go, Benji, outside. You ready?
I think.
There we go.
Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, motzi lechem min haaretz.
Amen.
B'tei avon.
Right. We'll see a few other people. We're going to open up the microphones and wish each other Shabbat Shalom. Good Shabbos, everyone.
Shabbat Shalom.
Shalom, everybody.
You did a good
Shalom.
Shabbat already.
Shabbat
Shabbat Shalom.
Shalom, Zach. You don't want to piece of bread, right? Thank you, Zach.
Marlene? You say do some more items.
No, I mean, leave this. Hi, Renee. Shabbat Shalom. Emma, Jack.
Oh, Martin and Beth.
I don't know who said that.
Hi, Rhonda.
Shalom.
And
Everybody.
Shabbat Shalom, Maria.
David,
Good to be with you.
Hi, Rhonda.
Shabbat Shalom.
Hi, Julie. Shabbat Shalom.
Happy birthday, Zach.
Hi, Toby.
Thank you so much.
Ryan, Linda, thank you.
Shabbat shalom.
Shabbat shalom, Lisa, Jeff, and Aria.
No, I don't know where
Hi, Rabbi.
Ryan is way down the bottom now. How did we get that? Hey.
The whole view, Jeffrey. Toby, how was Florida?
Shalom, Oren and Ella.
Are you gonna go sign off? Shabbat shalom.
Shabbat
shalom. Shabbat shalom. Hi, Mimi and Papa.
Shabbat shalom.
Shabbat shalom.
Good week to everyone.
Shabbat shalom to Bud Shram. Shout outs to all the people. Shabbat shalom.
Hi, everyone.
Hi, Bud.
Shabbat shalom to the Got Better family.
Bud.
Hey, Jesse. What?
Hey, Rabbi.
Oh, hi, Rabbi Hello, everybody. Myron and Ann and Julie.
Wow. That's just the way to go live.
Did you have a nice dinner tonight, Julie?
Hi, Shabbat shalom.
I'll hear about Julie. Hi, Ann.
Dark.
Gabi's sleeping.
I want you to ask where your father is.
Shabbat shalom, everyone.
Shabbat shalom.
Dogs are great. How are your host and hostess?
Shabbat shalom. How's Myron doing, Julie?
We're having dinner on David.
I don't know what you're doing.